So first of all, we always like to start off all of our meetings with our community agreements. If you want to read those for yourself, you can always find them at sfbike.org/community. But really, our community agreements are aiming to make sure that we are living up to our core values of transportation justice, sustainability, connection, and joy. And we really ask everybody to participate with us in these community agreements at all of our events. So we ask people to approach each other with empathy and care, to ask for and use each other's pronouns. We respect every person's autonomy by seeking consent before physical contact and offering before we help or explain. We take responsibility for our own participation and create space for the participation of others, which is something that everybody will definitely be able to practice during our round robin segment later in the evening. We are aware of the impact of our words and actions and that good intentions can still have negative impacts. We recognize that microaggressions, including unintended ones, are harmful and we seek to eliminate them. We let people know when we've been hurt and we try to forgive. We do our best to fulfill these agreements. We hold one another accountable to fulfilling them and we work to correct mistakes. And if you ever need support around any of these community agreements, you can always approach a staff member or a board member and let them know that you need some support, and we'll do what we can to support you. Okay, so today we are going to be doing a few things. I'm going to be giving a short presentation featuring one of our board members, Matt Bigger, right here, to overview our new strategic plan. And then we're going to have an opportunity for board candidates to speak to membership and give a quick 2-minute pitch about why they would like to be on the board and what they've got to contribute. And then we'll have an opportunity for everybody here to sort of circulate around to different stations around the room and learn more about how our different teams are enacting this new strategic plan in the next 3 years. Then we'll have some time to just mingle and get to talk to each other a little bit, which is always one of my favorite parts. Okay, let us talk a little bit about our brand new strategic plan that we are so excited about. Just to give a little bit of context, our last sort of really robust strategic plan was passed in 2018 and was a 5-year strategic plan that was meant to guide us through 2022. As it happens, just about at the halfway mark, there was this thing, a global pandemic, that really threw a wrench into everything that we had planned. And so, once we got to the end of that strategic plan, we had a 18-month interim strategic plan that sort of guided us through a transition period, which was not just a transition period of the city coming back to life, but also there were multiple leadership transitions at the organization. That's when I became executive director. And so now we have taken the past year or so to develop a really robust strategic plan that will guide us through the next 3 years. And we intentionally made it a little bit shorter, recognizing that lots of unexpected things can happen in 5 years, and that 3 years might be a wiser approach to take. So I would like to take a moment to invite up Matt Bigger, who is an outgoing board member. He's been really incredible leading the strategic planning process for the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition, and also being incredibly intentional in connecting the strategic process that we have been going through to the larger movement for safer streets, more livable city in San Francisco. So Matt, do you want to come on up?
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, everybody. Just going to highlight a few things for how we situated the strategic plan. And that starts, as Chris mentioned, to the larger movement, which there's many great organizations in San Francisco, as you know, working on positive change on our streets and transportation. We also started working with SF New Deal, which is a local business support organization, the Sierra Club, and their green infrastructure. So it was really trying to build like a larger tent around this vision we have for San Francisco, which comes the next slide. And so this shared vision created among the organizations on that last slide, and something that we have embraced as an organization as our North Star as well. I'll go ahead and just read it for you so you can think about what's in here. There's a lot of work among the organizations to come up with conveying this image of the San Francisco that we envision on our streets. So San Francisco streets are vibrant public spaces where everyone can thrive and get where they need to go, whether to jobs, schools, parks, or local businesses. Streets and sidewalks, which comprise 25% of the city's land, facilitate San Franciscans' connection with one another, their neighborhoods, nature, and the broader Bay Area every day. The safety, convenience, affordability, and enjoyment of walking, biking, rolling, and transit in San Francisco make them the preferred choices for most trips. So is this the kind of city you want to live in? I hope so. And I feel very optimistic, having had the chance to work with all these organizations in this process. And not only was there a development of the vision, but also strategies that they'll share together to get there, and really figuring out what each of their organizational roles will be in this. And that leads us to the Bike Coalition plan, which Chris will explain in more detail, but really appreciate how Chris and all the staff directors and our board members who are on the strategic planning committee kind of embraced that larger vision, but then kind of built out our own plan. And we had this lengthy process, and guess what? It started here and it finishes here. So a year ago, we took a lot of input from our members. If you were here, we were at a table, and Chris and I were all sorts of Post-its, and we used that material. Our staff and board processed all those notes, came up with categories, figured out where the direction for the coalition will be. Went through a series of steps then, refining our mission and core values, the four strategic priorities, and then really kind of detailing how are we going to actually implement this with objectives and key results. And the draft strategic plan has been presented to the board. It's going to go to the board very soon, the end of January, for approval, and here's a preview of it.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Matt. And again, I just really want to thank Matt for all the work that he's done in the past year, not just to help develop our strategic plan, but it has been a tremendous amount of work on Matt's part to pull together all of these different organizations and sort of walk us through a process and lots of, sometimes challenging conversations to help us all get aligned as separate organizations in a way that we can function as a movement together, not just as individual organizations. And I think it's going to have an incredible impact on the city. So thank you, Matt. Okay, jumping into, yes, round of applause for that. Jumping into the strategic plan. So we have a refreshed mission, which gets a little bit more to actually what are our core competencies, what do we do as an organization to achieve our goals. So that new mission is we advocate, educate, and build community for biking and rolling that is safe, convenient, and welcoming for everyone in San Francisco. And we are maintaining our tagline of biking and rolling for everyday transportation, so it has continuity with what we've had before. And we also have refreshed, to a degree, our core values. So our core values are still transportation justice, sustainability, and joy. There's one change here. Connection used to be articulated as people power in our past strategic plan, but we felt that connection actually is a stronger articulation of what is the value that underpins our reliance on people power to get our work done. So transportation justice means that we center community in our work for equitable access to safe, affordable, and reliable transportation. Sustainability says we support a resilient climate and environment by improving conditions for biking and rolling. Through connection, we create positive change by fostering interaction and community in our streets and in our work. And finally, joy. We celebrate biking and rolling as fun and liberating ways to get around. Okay. So we also have 4 strategic priorities, and these strategic priorities really resonate well with the work that we have been doing for years, but gives them further focus through the next 3 years. The first strategic priority is equitable access. And equitable access means that we offer resources and experiences to individuals, communities, and schools to help people of every demographic gain the skills, knowledge, and equipment for biking and rolling, and strengthen their sense of belonging in our movement. So this is a lot of the work that we do through our 2 programmatic teams. We have a youth and family biking team, and we have a community programs team, and they do a ton of work, which sometimes goes sort of invisible to our membership, because our membership are primarily people who are already part of this movement. They are people who are committed to biking and rolling and want to see it safer and more accessible for everybody in San Francisco. But the work that we do on equitable access acknowledges that there are lots of people in the city who are not able to access biking and rolling in the same way that, that all of us in this room are able to, whether it's because of a history of racist planning in their neighborhood that makes it unsafe to bike there, whether it's because they don't have financial access to bikes or scooters. It may be that they don't feel confident in their knowledge about how to get around on a bike. So these are all things that we address through our programs to enable people to bike and roll more confidently in San Francisco. I'm sorry?
How do you define rolling?
Great question, thank you. So yes, rolling is something that is much more of a focus in this strategic plan compared to past strategic plans. And we define rolling as any device that legally belongs in the bike lane. So rolling includes scooters that are within the legal class of scooters in San Francisco, which means that they are speed limited to 15 miles per hour. It includes other devices that belong there, e-bikes, and I'm talking about e-bikes, not e-motos. That is a persistent problem that we need to address in the coming years. But it is important as we want to expand our movement that we include all of the different people who are legally allowed to be in the bike lane. For a lot of communities, rolling on a scooter feels much more accessible than biking per se. We want those people in our movement, and we want those people to be fighting with us, alongside us, for safer infrastructure. So thank you for that question, it's a good one. Okay, our next strategic priority is around cultural narrative. We really want to ensure that we are shaping the narrative around biking and rolling to emphasize their safety and joy, as well as the collective benefits of prioritizing these modes. So, I think a lot of people are very aware that we had a ton of wins in the past several years, and in the past year or so, we've been seeing a building backlash or bike-lash to all of the work that we've been doing. And the people who oppose the work that we've been doing are getting more organized than ever. And that feeds into a media culture in San Francisco that really values conflict over facts. And so we want to be a lot more intentional in the coming years that we are shaping the cultural narrative and making sure that we are owning the story rather than allowing it to be shaped through the media or by people who oppose the work that we do. Partner and member engagement. So this has to do with all of you. We want to facilitate regular, specific, and meaningful opportunities for people living and working in San Francisco to engage with each other and our work in support of our mission. This strategic priority really gets to that core value of connection. And we are really thinking about the ways that we can build our movement by finding more and more ways to bring people into the movement, to make them feel involved in the community, to help people develop a sense of identity around how they get around, because that is going to encourage people to buy into the work that we do. And so we'll be doing a lot of work to be even more intentional, to create spaces and opportunities for people to come together around biking and rolling, and also to be really intentional about inviting in people who are not already seeing themselves as part of that movement by creating lots of cultural events, opportunities for people to get onto a bike, even if they never have before. And finally, of course, political power. We have to build political power to win bold and transformative improvements for safe biking and rolling across San Francisco. And of course, this is the core of what we do, right? But it's important within the strategic plan, and I think that this is what's really exciting and powerful about the strategic plan, that we recognize how these different strategic priorities fit together. We need to give focus to equitable access, to cultural narrative, and to partner and member engagement in order to keep building political power. These things flow into each other and are all united with each other. Okay, so we will be learning even more about the objectives and key results that are going to be sort of the nitty-gritty where the bike tire meets the road of how we actually do this work by breaking out shortly into sort of a round-robin breakout session that allows you to talk to our different staff members and teams to find out what are the objectives that we're going to be highlighting to fulfill these strategic objectives. We'll give you more instruction about that when the time comes. However, before we get to that, we have to get to the other exciting aspect of tonight's meeting, which is everybody here should have gotten in your inbox this morning an email saying, please vote for the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition Board of Directors election, which kicks off today. Voting starts today. Each of you got your own personalized ballot, electronic ballot. We do our elections through, I might be jumping ahead myself. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay, we do our elections through ranked choice voting. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Please fill out your ballots by January 30th at 9:59. That's when voting ends. And we will then work on staff and current board side to tabulate and finalize the results. We'll alert all of the candidates, and then we'll let all of you know what the outcome was. If you want to know more about ranked choice voting, there's information about that on our website, and if you click on news and go to the blog about elections, or it's linked in all of the communications about the elections, you can find out more about that. And somebody, a current board member actually pointed out that in their experience, it would be helpful to know more about what it means to be a board member in order to make decisions about who they're going to vote for. So I want to highlight a little bit about that. The board member's primary responsibilities are, first of all, attending monthly meetings and participating in all of those, and also participating in at least one of the committees on the board. Serving as ambassadors in our community. That's really one of the most important things that our board members do. Like any nonprofit board, a part of their role is to help safeguard and maximize our assets, and also to help create high-level strategies for the organization. That doesn't mean getting into the daily nitty-gritty of street campaigns. It instead means helping us to identify, as we have with the strategic plan, what are the strategies at a high level that we're going to pursue as an organization. Making a powerful contribution to our sustainability, so whether that is through making a contribution themselves or helping to fundraise for the organization, that's a very important aspect. Helping us to create an intentional culture, and in general, just seeing what needs to be done. And particularly useful skills and experiences that we've found over the years that really are a value add to the work that staff does is fundraising, marketing, or business development, always very helpful. Nonprofit management and finance experience really helps to advise me and other folks who are working on the money side of things. Community engagement, especially if people have connections or access within specific San Francisco communities that can really help to build participation in that community. Experience with government planning and or policy is definitely helpful. And then legal chops or HR experience, always very helpful. Okay, so now that that lays the groundwork a little bit, we are going to move on to our Board of Director candidate statements. Board candidates who are here, first of all, I'll let you know that we are going in alphabetical order, so that will give you a little bit of a sense of who is coming up next. The other thing I want to say is we are videotaping these speeches tonight because thank you all for being here, but there are thousands of other members who are not here tonight but would like to see these speeches, so we're recording it over here, and I will be passing off this little lavalier mic to folks as they come up. And the other thing I want to just say so that everybody can be heard in your 2 minutes is speak directly into the mic like this. And finally, Nairi is holding up signs to let you know how much time you have left. So please pay attention to Nairi as you are giving your speech. And at 2 minutes, we'll politely ask you to finish if you have not finished speaking. Okay, and with that, our first candidate is our incumbent board member, Garrett Brinker.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh, and I'm walking away with the lavalier mic.
Thanks. Just throw it in there. Just do that. Perfect.
It's on there. Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Garrett Brinker, and I'm running for my second term on the board. A writer for the British daily newspaper The Guardian once said that cycling is simultaneously the most joyful and the most precarious way to move through a city. And that tension is something we all feel, the freedom of riding paired with the reality that our streets were not designed with us in mind. I bike because it's the most joyful, grounding, and human way that I know to experience San Francisco. It turns streets into public space. It creates a real connection to this place that I call home. I've never owned a car, and so biking has always been the way I move through this city, to work, to see friends, to explore different neighborhoods. It's also my main sport, and so on weekends you'll find me riding into Marin or down the peninsula, chasing good coffee, or probably using my long ride as an excuse to eat one too many pastries. And biking has given me so much more. It's given me freedom, health, and community, and I think that creates a responsibility. Cycling shouldn't be seen as a risk calculation or an act of bravery. It should feel normal, safe, and welcoming for kids, seniors, commuters, and people riding for the first time. Over the past 2 years on the board, I've focused on helping SFBC strengthen member engagement, expand our donor base, and build a more sustainable fundraising foundation, alongside supporting advocacy and the organization's long-term strategy. What inspired me most is this organization's ability to turn values into action, build real infrastructure, organize people power, and hold the city accountable. Professionally, I lead public sector partnerships at VIA, working with hundreds of cities and transit agencies, including SFMTA, to deliver more equitable, sustainable mobility. I bring that coalition building and systems perspective directly to my work on the board as well. I believe cities work best when they're designed for people, and I'd be honored to continue helping SFBC build a safer, more joyful, more equitable San Francisco. Thank you, and I'd be grateful for your vote.
Okay, and next up we have Alyssa Chung, also an incumbent board member.
Can I clip you?
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks. Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Chung, and I've been a board member for the last 1.5 years. I live in the southwestern corner of San Francisco, in the OMI neighborhood, and I'm a mom to a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old. My day job is in energy policy for the state, but I try to do bike advocacy with what little free time I do have. I'm running again because I want to help the Bike Coalition succeed in making our streets safer for everyone. And to encourage more families to get around by bike. I've been a member since 2017, but it wasn't until 2022 when I had my first kid and moved to the Ocean View neighborhood that I started working with the Bike Coalition. I was trying to get a bike ramp installed on the bike path at the end of my street. And not only were Rachel and Claire incredibly responsive and helpful to a newbie like me, they also empowered me to feel like I could be part of a bigger movement to push for safer streets in my district. This really inspired me to find other ways to plug into the Bike Coalition's work, including becoming a board member. As I've dived more into the world of bike advocacy, I've been impressed with just how much the Bike Coalition has done to make it safer for families like mine to bike around the city. And I also see how much work there is still left to do. So I'm running because I'd like to continue supporting the Bike Coalition's efforts to raise more money and expand staff capacity for advocacy and programs. I think that my background working in policy, philanthropy, and small nonprofits will be helpful in achieving this goal. Additionally, I'd also like to keep engaging families and members in my district on behalf of the coalition. In the last 1.5 years, I've helped with fundraising events and planning rides and events for families on the West Side, and I hope to continue doing this over the next couple of years. And lastly, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's great to see a really strong showing of members. Thanks for considering me.
I'm gonna do a little mic switch because it seems like this one might be dying. Okay, that seems like it might be a little bit better. Okay, and next up we have Rachel Eastwood.
Thanks. Awesome. Hello. Hi. Pull up my notes real quick. Hi, Rachel Eastwood, she, her. I've lived in SF for over 10 years and recently reside in the Dog Patch. My fun, somewhat embarrassing fun fact is that I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was 20 years old. So as you can imagine, somewhat the risk, the process was a bit intimidating, but I luckily had a friend from the Boston Coalition, Bike Coalition, who taught me how to ride a bike. And for that, I have so much empathy for the coalition and all the work that we do to like bring education and bring everyone along the way, because it is a joy in my life every day. Biking to work every day, and since then I've been making up for lost time. I've helped with fundraising and made many new friends along the way, riding around Lake Tahoe, biking to Marin, all for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, also the National MS Society, and also just recently raised funding for the SF Marin Food Bank with the supermarket sweep, if anyone had a chance to join, and this Climate Ride Green Fondo, raising funds for the SF Bike Coalition. And with that, I've lived in SF for 12 years and really can't imagine living anywhere else. I love this community, this city, the coalition are all worth showing up for with rain, fog, or shine. Professionally, I've had 10 years of experience in digital marketing experience that I would love to bring to the coalition. I specialize in optimizing websites, events, social media, and really storytelling, which essentially helping great missions like the coalition to reach more people and turn supporters into lifetime members. I'm excited to put these skills to work and help the coalition to continue to grow its impact, amplify its wins, and bring even more riders along in the journey. I care deeply about the work for the coalition and already doing for our city. I would be honored to roll up my sleeves and help bring my positivity, tenacity, and empathy for any new or late-time riders to join the coalition. Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. And next up we have Laura Krull.
Great, good evening. Hello, I'm Laura Krull. I wanted to start by sharing my cycling origin story. I first, I was in college and I was looking for a job off campus, and I needed an affordable and convenient way to get there, and my sister loaned me her old bike, and that's kind of how I really started to realize what cycling can really offer me. And 17 years later, I am still commuting my bike, and now I've even expanded that to the joys of recreational riding on pavement and gravel. And I think too there, as I know a lot of folks have already mentioned, the expansion of what cycling means. I know for me that's expanded to being really a freedom of movement in all the various places that I've lived. And my connection to the Bicycle Coalition started as a Bike to Work Day intern about 10 years ago. And more recently, I've been able to work with the coalition in my day job as managing the Bay Wills Bike Share program. So I'm really excited to see, all of the great advocacy work and how we can really expand that community building that we do. And I hope that my experience in transportation planning can really help the board. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Laura. And next up, we have Marty Moulton.
Can I clip you? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put it on your sweatshirt. Let me just carry it. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Martin Moulton. I can just call me Marty, please. I apologize I won't be able to stay till the end of the meeting. I moved back to California from back east, primarily to care for my elderly mother, who, after my father passed. She was my inspiration for biking. When we lived in Menlo Park and only had one car, she biked from Menlo Park to Redwood City to go to work at the post office. And I figured if she could do that till 40, I could do it for the rest of my life. And I've done just that. I've never had a car, nor have I ever had a driver's license. Never had the inclination. I think I have a lot of the skills that Christopher mentioned and pointed out that you want from your board members. I worked for the Economist Group in the roll call division covering Congress for decades. And so I have a lot of media experience. I worked with David Alpert, a former Google exec who started Greater Washington in Washington, D.C., covering bike issues, transit, public safety, sustainable development. I also briefly, during my college years, I came back because after my freshman year in New Hampshire, I realized that I couldn't stand New Hampshire winters. So I took as many winter terms off, and my first winter term off was working in a law firm downtown. And back when there were only a lot of very wild bike messengers who dared biking daily on the streets of San Francisco, and I certainly wouldn't have biked in San Francisco back then in the early 80s. If you were to Google my name and the Washington Post and the word vigilante, you'll see a front page Sunday Washington Post article, at least the lead of it if you don't have a membership, back when the Washington Post was about that thick. So getting a front page story with a couple jumps was pretty rare, but it identifies how much of a passionate bike advocate I am. I'd love to be a part of your coalition. I can't avoid mentioning that I'm also one of the co-organizers for the San Francisco World Naked Bike Ride. And it's up for each of you members. I know that one of our wonderful coalition members, Debbie Esters, is also a member of the coalition, and she comes on most of our rides. But if that is a deal breaker, I respect that. However, I would say that we're out there in the community several times a year, and we have a lot of positive public engagement that I think would benefit the coalition. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and next up we have Michael Wynn.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Wynn. I'm really excited to be here tonight and to talk to all of you. My background is in nonprofit management consulting and finance, and currently I'm a bureaucrat at City Hall where I do trash regulation. I oversee and regulate ecology. But my Bike Coalition background has started off when I was a amateur bike wrench at the Bike It Forward nights. Those nights changed my life. Instead of looking at PowerPoints and spreadsheets, I got to look at these beautiful bikes that needed some TLC. And after my experience in Bike It Forward, I decided to step up and run for the board 2 years ago. And so I watched the YouTube video from that time to see what I proposed for my campaign, and I wanted to follow up on how I feel I did. And so there were 3 things I ran on. The first was financial planning. Again, my background is nonprofit finance, and so I've helped review the budgets. I've helped review financial statements every month to make sure that the coalition is in good financial health. I've helped with strategic planning as well. This is my second year helping Berkeley grad students help us disambiguate the really complex structure that the coalition is under. Right now we're a 501c3, 501c4, and we're trying to like restructure to make sure that we're compliant with the law and like with best practices. And finally, I hired Chris, or I was part of the planning committee that hired Chris. I don't think we'll need to find another executive director, but you know, that's part of my experience, and I'm prepared to find another one if we need to. Yeah, the things that I bring to this organization are centered around compliance, oversight, and accountability. If you want to remember that, you can remember that by me saying, I really love bikes and I really love budgets. Thank you so much for your consideration, and thank you for being here. Thank you for my finance committee as well for supporting me, and thanks to the coalition. Yeah. Thanks.
I'm not planning to go anywhere. Our next candidate actually couldn't be here tonight. She is a biking mom, and her daughter had a basketball game tonight that she couldn't miss. So for Ellen Novak, we've got Clara Mobley delivering her speech on her behalf.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. I'm glad to hear that you're not going anywhere. Hi, everyone. My name is not Ellen Novak. It is Claire Mobley, and I'm your Director of Advocacy. But I'm here today to speak on, or give Ellen's speech. So I'm now speaking as Ellen. I recently submitted my candidacy for the SF Bike Coalition Board. I really wish I could be here in person tonight, but my daughter has a basketball game, and I'm very committed to not missing those moments. Thank you so much for understanding. I'm here because I truly care about bike safety and access in San Francisco. This is personal for me. I bike all over the city and have for more than 35 years to run errands, get to work, pick up kids, or just clear my head. I love the freedom biking gives me here, but I've also had those moments where you're holding your breath at an intersection or hoping a driver actually sees you. Those experiences stay with you, and they're what make me want safer streets for everyone. I also really care about people feeling safe riding to work. San Francisco is such a small, dense city that biking is a great way to get around. It's efficient, practical, and kinder to the environment, but more than anything, I want biking to feel like a normal, accessible option for more people in their everyday lives. If given the opportunity to serve, I know I'll be doing a lot of learning at first, but as I grow into the role, I'd love to help support the following things. A connected, safe bike network, better street safety, especially in higher risk areas, and expanded access so more people feel comfortable getting on a bike. I'm also inspired by programs like Bike It Forward, which help remove barriers and make biking more accessible to more people. Another area where I think I can add value is building awareness and support for the coalition. I'm a natural connector. Me too. I love bringing people together, helping others understand what we're focused on, and growing our biking community. If appointed to the board, I'll put people first, adults commuting with confidence, kids riding safely, seniors moving comfortably, and families enjoying their neighborhood. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Ellen.
Great, and next up we have Ryan Patterson, an incumbent from our board.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Patterson. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I've been a member of the Bicycle Coalition dating back to 2011 when I moved here. One of the first things I did was take an urban cycling class so I could learn how to load my bike onto a bus and not get hit by a bus, which I had had that experience before. This gave me the confidence to be a biker in San Francisco, and I was hooked from that moment on. I've been a member of the board since 2023 and have prioritized the financial health of the organization. In my free time, I'm a land use attorney. I deal with the bureaucracy of San Francisco, and I'm very familiar with how it works and how to get things done. I'm also a small business owner. I understand the importance, the prime importance of balancing the books, and I'm also a new parent. So all of our endeavors with the Bicycle Coalition have, in the last 4 months, taken on a new urgency for me, because when my daughter is old enough to ride a bike here, I want her to be safe to do it. So we don't have a lot of time, in my view. My priorities going forward: first, financial health. If we can't keep the lights on, the organization can't do much of anything. I think we've made enormous strides in the last few years. I'm a member of the Finance Committee, and I'd like to continue seeing that forward. Second, safety. It should not feel like taking a risk when we get on a bike, and all too often it does. We have to focus on that. It's sensible traffic rules, and it's sensible infrastructure. Third, political power, because that's how we get everything done that we want to achieve here. That means, I think, in the next 2 years, a real relentless focus on growing our membership and activating our membership so that we can apply that power to the decision makers in this city and get it done. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's a privilege to serve on the board, and I hope you'll give me a chance to continue.
Okay, next up we have Kelsey Roeder.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Roeder. My pronouns are she, her. And I have been biking in San Francisco since I moved here about 20 years ago, which is unbelievable to me. And I've been able to see how much change the Bicycle Coalition has been able to bring to San Francisco in that time. I became a member of the Bike Coalition on Bike to Work Day in 2015 and was lucky enough to join staff in 2016. Working on the membership team and leading membership, and then later director of people and culture. And in that time, I really learned a lot about coalition building, member engagement, and fundraising, all important skills for being on the board. And I also had a lot of experience with what a good board looks like from the staff side. And what I really learned during that time is, in order to be a strong, useful board, it's really, like Chris said, it's not about getting into the day-to-day of staff work. It's really like doing the sometimes boring but always important work of good governance, fundraising, strategic partnership, so that this amazing staff can do what they do best. Let's see, what else? I was like, I'll remember everything. I know it, I don't need to write it down. In my time leading membership at the organization, I was able to meet so many people in this room, and it's so nice to see everybody again. And what else? Oh, I have a daughter. It's been awesome to hear from other parents here. I have a 3.5-year-old, and we bike like halfway across the city every day. She hates the car, she loves the bike. And so it's really put this work into a new perspective for me of how important it really is, and how meaningful it is to me. So thank you. I'd be so honored to serve on this board.
And finally, we'd like to welcome up Emily Steincross, our final candidate for the evening and also an incumbent.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Emily, and for the past 10 years, San Francisco has been my home. Many of you know me as the person riding through Golden Gate Park with my mini Golden Doodle cashew tucked into my backpack. Biking has been a childhood joy, my physical therapy after 3 knee surgeries, and now my primary mode of transportation as a car-free San Franciscan. Whether I'm training for a triathlon, teaching a friend how to ride for the first time, or commuting to work, I believe our streets must be safe and welcoming for every type of rider. For the last 2 years, I've had the honor of serving on this board as the chair of the Membership and Fundraising Committee. In this role, I've worked closely with our Director of Development and Membership and Fundraising team to bring fresh, creative energy to our growth. Some examples include launching the Helmet Head beer collaboration with Standard Deviant Brewing, getting behind the bar as guest bartender at Jackalope to raise funds, representing our community on the climate ride, securing critical corporate sponsorships for our biggest events, including Bike to Forever Day and Winterfest. I focused on turning our collective passion into a sustainable financial engine for the coalition. By day, I'm a senior business operations analyst on the education experience team at Autodesk. I spend my time breaking down complex business objectives into tactical wins for 13 million students. I've brought that same BizOps mindset to this board, listening to community needs, solving problems collaboratively, and acting as a bridge between high-level strategy and street-level reality. I'm running for re-election because my work isn't finished. I want to continue leveraging my professional background and my experience as your fundraising chair to ensure the SF Bike Coalition is inclusive, funded, and more effective than ever. Thank you for your vote, and look forward to seeing you out in the bike lane.
That's going right back on me.
Okay, and I also need this. Thanks. All right, can we have another round of applause for all of our candidates, please? We are so lucky to have such passionate and dedicated people who want to run for our board and then really spend just an amazing amount of time out of their personal lives to make the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition strong. One other way that everybody here could help make the Bicycle Coalition strong is by participating in, and a few people mentioned this this evening, the Climate Ride Green Fondo Northern California, which is a 2-day bike ride that happens up in Northern California and up in Marin and Sonoma, it says it right there. And the Team SF, which Matt Bigger, who you met before, leads that team, raises money for both us and our partners at Walk San Francisco. And so far, the team has 25 members right now, which is incredible. I will be riding for the first time in the Green Fondo this year, and lots of other staff members and board members will be also. So if you are interested in joining, it's so fun. You can scan that QR code right there. Or just search for Green Fondo and find the team, and we would love to have you as part of our team. The fundraising levels that you need to raise in order to participate are very manageable. They're not too daunting. It's a great way to start to get involved in doing some fundraising and giving back to the Bicycle Coalition and to Walk SF for everything that we're doing to make San Francisco safer for everybody. And with that, I want to move on to the round robin phase of the evening that I've been referencing for most of the evening. This is where you'll get to meet our teams and talk to them about our objectives for the coming years in order to fulfill those strategic priorities that I talked about earlier. So when everybody came in, I believe, did people get colored dots? I'm not seeing colored dots. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. What? Yeah, that's a great idea. So, okay, if you are sitting on this side of the room, and let's say this row forward, let us have you start at Equitable Access with the programs team. Programs team, will you please raise your hands? It'll be over here in this corner. If you are on this side and back, let's have you all go to Political Power, which is back here with the advocacy team. And I'm doing this just so we're not all falling over each other. If you are this row back, let's have you all go and talk to the membership and development team about partner and member engagement. And if you are in this row forward, we're going to have you all start off over here to talk about cultural narrative with the marketing communications team. At a certain point, after a few minutes, I will ring the bell up there in the corner, and that means it's time to go clockwise to the next station. So if you're here, you're going to move over to here. If you're here, you're going to move to there. If you're there, you're going to move to there. And if you're there, you're going to all come all the way over to this table over here. And then we'll do that 4 times so that everybody can stop by each table. And then we're done for the night. So please head over to the station.